Welcome to 160 Studios. I'm Holly Scott. Today I have Amy Siegel, the CEO and co-founder of S2N Health with me. Welcome, Amy.
Hey, Holly.
Great to see you. Great to see you in beautiful Boston this morning.
Yeah, hopefully it won't rain all weekend, but that is truly my background is Boston. We are downtown.
Downtown. I've had the pleasure of meeting you downtown. It's a cool little office. It's a great little team. I love the way you're set up and where you're positioned. It's great access.
Yeah, no, we want to be at the center of the action.
Definitely are. Well, this is great. I appreciate you joining me. We've had an opportunity to talk about S2N Health several times, and I knew it would be of interest to our audience for a few reasons. And I'm going to start with you because as a leader and a co-founder of the organization, you really are the tip of the spear. Tell us a little bit about your early career leading up to S2N and the inception. I'd love to hear where you came from and how this came into your world.
Sure. And I bet every person you've ever interviewed says the same thing, that careers are not linear. So my early career was in international trade finance. I was in the finance realm, working for the US government to promote US exports. Did handle some loan financing for some medical exports. But that was about my medical career until I took a role as a general management consultant, strategy consultant for what's now Deloitte. So that was Monitor Company at the time. I really wanted to get more broad and strategic in my work, and ended up doing a lot in the healthcare realm there, working with device and pharma and diagnostics companies. So my first taste of getting in the healthcare space was as a consultant, which I did for about 10 years. I was employee 19 at Health Advances, helped grow that to about 50. Of course, now it's a very large organization. And there I really started to focus on medical technology. So did a lot of work in both inorganic and organic growth strategy for many, many device companies in that role. And then I wanted to put my money where my mouth was and work at a device company, helping to develop and launch and grow inside of a company. So I joined Aspect Medical. We had a brain monitoring technology for anesthesia monitoring as well as for neuropsychiatric indications that we were developing. I was part of the emerging technologies team, the business person on that team. I met my co-founder at Aspect Medical, Tim Kofel. He was the software algorithm guy working on brain electrical activity signals. And that I'll come back to that on why we're called S2N Health. But it was there where I really got knee deep in understanding every aspect of launching innovative medical technologies, from clinical and regulatory to marketing and pricing and commercialization and partnerships, strategic partnerships, and engineering even. And then we were acquired by Covidien. So now Medtronic, and then I went to a startup, and then I started S2N. So I know that was a long story, but I worked my way from finance to med tech commercialization over a few steps.
Exceptional. What I love about that is you're 100% right. No path is exactly the same, and no path to the top is linear. It's just not. It's not. But what is consistent, especially around the C-suite and around individuals who found and lead organizations, is that constant drive to challenge and do something new. And I hear that from you. And I must say, 10 years in consulting, that's that's dog years, right? That's a long time. However, you get immense exposure in that world. You get immense exposure. So taking that, transitioning it intentionally to more of a strategic focus, and then wanting to get that inside medtech experience, and then understanding the breadth of it, that provides tremendous value to an organization as well, because you bring in so much expertise. So as I work with individuals every day who are driving their career and thinking about what's next for them, so often we're on our heels when we're reactive when we're making decisions, because we just don't know, what's next and what application is going to respond and such. But the reality is, the more intentional you are about it, and the more you seek things that are new and add to your bandwidth, the more you can grow, and the more apt you are to get to aspiring to leadership roles. So I appreciate you sharing that. That's a really important point for the audience.
Yeah, consulting is like dog years. And I think what I love about the medical space is it is super complex. You don't give you don't give easy questions to a consultant.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it is complex. You're in a highly regulated industry. The payment models are very complex. And then you layer over that medical technology itself, where you have capital equipment, you have consumables, you have semi reusables, you have software, you have algorithms. It's so complicated. It's just the business models are complicated on top of it. Plus, you've got patients and you've got human machine interface between, surgeons or physicians and the technology. It's That's why I love it. I love complexity.
Well, you're drawn to it. You determined the founding of a company, or you looked at founding an organization. Going back to the year that you founded, when things were really messy in health tech, and they still are. So tell us how that came about. You were at Aspect, and you met your co-founder.
Yeah, I met my co-founder. I did not know at the time Tim Koppel would be my co-founder, but I knew he was very, very smart. And while he was in between developing algorithms on brain and electrical activity, I kept asking him to help me create market models from data that I had gathered. So even back then, I was very data oriented in trying to develop commercial strategies for our novel technologies we were developing there. When we were acquired, Tim had gone off to business school. So after the acquisition, again, I stayed at Covidian about 6 months and then really had startup fever. I'd been working on launching new stuff and I really wanted to do that. So I went to a startup and Tim reached out to me. Rough time, right? We all remember. So I started the company in 2011, but I was at the startup. The acquisition happened in 2009. I was at the startup till 2010. So Holly, what was going on then?
Oh, geez, I think it was a big one. One of the few big apocalyptic moments in our careers, right? Yeah, that was a big one. How did your business respond at the time? Did you make a move at the time, or what happened?
So the financial crisis hit really in '08. So I was
Mm-hmm.
still at Aspect Medical in '08.
Mm-hmm.
It was a roller coaster ride. I can describe it in terms of the value of my options.
Mm-hmm.
So when I joined Aspect in '06, I think my options were originally valued at $38 a share.
Mm-hmm.
So between the financial crisis, which did impact medtech, I think we could all learn a little bit from that. We think that we're a little bit less sensitive in the reimbursed medical landscape to changes in the economy, but we're not. People lose health insurance. Companies realize that elective procedures get pushed off. So, we were hit by that. Plus, we had a negative New England Journal article about our core technology. So I think our share price in '08 went down to $3 a share. And then the acquisition, I think we sold at $12 a share. So things did come back a bit. So
Mm-hmm.
there was an initial, everyone took a breath. So really, I rode the roller coaster of the financial crisis at Aspect. By the time I got out to Seventh Sense Biosystems was the startup that I went to. Things were sort of on the upswing. So, but there were a lot of zombies. So, and I think we're seeing that now, like the financial crisis that created a lot of companies that couldn't get funded, and I think that's hitting biotech more now than medtech. But our originally when we Tim and I conceived of the company, and S2N Health stands for signal to noise. When we were at the medtech company, it was all about signal to noise. It was looking at brain electrical activity, which is very small signal, and it was trying to read important patient information out of that while reducing the noise. And when we got the idea of starting S2N Health, which was really to find the commercial success signal in the noise for innovative medical technology companies, we really like that analogy. So we adopted that. S2N stands for signal to noise, because that's what companies are trying to do. You have to carve a very careful path on the way to success for any innovative medical technologies. You have to have product market fit. You have to get your pricing strategy right. You have to know what's problem you're solving, how you fit in the competitive landscape, what segment you're going after, how to position your technology with your target customers, obviously reimbursement. So there's a lot of noise and you have to find the signal. And that's what we do.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal analogy. And we have to find the signal in life now, right? We have so
Yeah.
much information coming at us on a daily basis. From the minute we wake up to most of us on our alarm clocks on our phone, there's data coming our way. There's things coming at us. The old days of seeking out the newspaper are gone. The news comes to us. You know, this is why we have such a challenge with dealing with what's real and what isn't. And that's a big problem. So it's easy to conceptualize and put context around what you're doing for the medical device industry. You're really providing an incredible resource for targets and for ensuring that time is most efficiently spent in areas that will get the greatest need from your product or service, correct?
Yeah, so that theme remains so important. And now, if you look broader at industry trends, you're seeing a lot of consolidation in the industry. There's a lot of concern about margins. You know, people don't want to spend more in their healthcare, governments don't want to spend more in healthcare. So everyone's got to watch every penny. And for medtech companies, sales and marketing is just always a huge expense. And it's not always optimized, right? Medtech sales used to be, it still is, but it used to be 100% relationship driven.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you knew your customers, your surgeons, your physicians, you knew their wife, you knew their dog, you had formed a relationship with them, you're in cases with them. None of that has like gone away, but in this effort to streamline and make cost effective healthcare happen, um, companies are consolidating, sales teams are consolidating, territories are consolidating, bags are getting bigger. People are carrying more products in their bag in the field. And all of that means you have to process a lot of signals simultaneously to do your job. And the old relationship method, it's harder to get access to physicians. Um, you know, you need to be extremely data driven in your approach to be a successful sales rep, to be a successful sales leader, to do successful marketing. You really need to know who are you targeting and what's going to move them. And in this world of data and AI, it really has to play a prominent role. So I think we're going through a generational shift in medtech commercialization um, that had to happen. And we're all about the future. You know, we're all about not just arming people to make great decisions with the best possible data, but taking it one step further in the use of kind of AI agents and recommended actions and ways to really reduce the cognitive load on people who are trying to do a very hard job, which is to advance the impact of medical technologies on market.
I can see how that's incredibly valuable. Let's for the audience just play with us for a minute. So I'm Holly Scott, the sales rep with Amy's Medical Device Company, and today maybe you could tell me, walk me through what's my day like today, and what would your service allow me to do differently?
Yeah, so if we take a more traditional rep scenario, so let's say I sell stents and vascular technology, you know, my job as a rep is to really understand my territory, my customers, and to make a business plan. I am like a mini business person. I've got my goals, which are my quota. I've got my territory, which is my playing ground. I've got my product portfolio that I need to understand really well. And usually, you know, I have some amount of case coverage I'm trying to do as well. I really do need to, you know, cover those cases and get in the hallways with my customers. But a lot of it is in the planning. You know, it's what am I going to be doing this week to help meet my quota, to help, you know, push my product, you know, who am I going to be calling on? How am I going to be following up? how am I going to be engaging these people? Really doing not just your weekly planning and your quarterly planning, but also, how am I preparing to engage successfully? I need to know and research everything about this person or this facility or this institution that I'm about to engage with. So, a lot of what we're arming people with is very simple, easy access to the information they need to both plan how they're going to be successful, plan their week, plan their next call. But beyond that, because of our integration with Salesforce, not everyone loves Salesforce, but everyone has Salesforce. And the more information that is available in Salesforce, the better the whole organization can plan. So now I can engage in the CRM to get the information that I need, but I can also very easily feed back information into the CRM that, 10 years ago would have been all trapped in the head of a physician, of a sales rep,
Mhm.
right? So, um, I am being more of a team player. I'm helping the whole organization be successful. This is how it has to work going forward. So there's a whole nother layer of sort of how I establish my opportunity pipeline, how I track my progress against those opportunities, and how I know whether what I'm doing has been successful. You really need a whole nother layer of data to optimize that for the field. And really, we're about that layer as well, not just a tool for sales reps to target, but really a whole of organization solution to make sure not just that the whole sales team is aligned, but if that rep gets hit by a bus tomorrow, what's the institutional knowledge that's retained of how to sell? So, if I'm the rep of the future, maybe I have AI messaging telling me, hey, this is a good time to catch Dr. Jones. Here's how you might approach Dr. Jones. His persona is an academic. Uh, he published this article, last week. Would you like to see this publication? This is all stuff we're doing now, by the way. This isn't the future. This is now. And then, how do I qualify that opportunity? Hey, it looks like they're only buying technology X from you, but they also do procedure Y. Maybe you should talk about this procedure. So by being integrated in with their systems, we can integrate those internal insights on order history, that kind of thing, along with market information to really guide the rep to, what is my upside opportunity in this particular account or with his particular physician.
That's phenomenal. It really sharpens the knife. We talk about team efficiency and we talk about really maximizing time and value. You hit it on the head. The rep is, there's so many things that they have to manage from a business perspective. And frankly, the best hunters are not the best gatherers. And that's just an observation from working with people for 3 decades. The best hunters that are out there are not typically the ones that are going to be the best at maximizing research and prep and planning and data management. So those tools could give incredible ROI for those force multipliers, we call them, the top 10%. If you're thinking Price is Law, the people who really move the needle are the smaller number within an organization. Imagine equipping them with a tool that can really accelerate their growth and performance. That's phenomenal. Great job. And it's interesting to me, you may not have known it at the time, but when you said you would rely on Tim in his off time to give you data associated with your own market research and the strategic role you held at Aspect, you were recognizing the need before you recognized the need. Am I right on that?
Data's everything. Data's everything. We were talking about AI also when it was called machine learning. So yeah, we've been ahead of the curve, and I credit Tim with a lot of that. And Holly, what you said about hunters and farmers, I would actually flip it around. So what we see is, not every company sells the most innovative technologies, or maybe only a couple of the technologies are innovative. Reps are very expensive, and a lot of their time is spent or taking orders, right? It's farming. They call on people they know, and they incrementally try to nudge up orders, but there's a lot of farming going on where there could be hunting. And I think the problem is you have to give people the ability to hunt better. So what we see with our platform and our approach is to turn people who are maybe doing more farming into little mini hunters, because really everyone's got to hunt now. But a lot of companies have sales teams that are a little more farmer focused and they're not seeing the growth that they want. So we're about changing that.
That's fantastic. Well, you mentioned Salesforce and the fact that it works seamlessly with it, and I believe it's, gosh, 92% of the market uses Salesforce. I know it's got a huge. Is it, however, platform agnostic? Is it a tool that can be used with other CRMs? Is it something that's customizable?
Of course. I mean, we have a standalone, fully independent platform. It's fully maintained, just like our Salesforce integrated one. We do have a strategy to work with large medtech enterprise customers. That's been our focus. They insisted that we integrate when we were developing the initial RepSignal platform, and we listened. I mean, we had worked with maybe 80, 90 medtech companies as a service organization before we made the pivot to product. That was a whole nother story, but very exciting moment in our history right around the pandemic when we decided to pivot. Hey, the problem we were seeing is the world gets a lot of data. It's not actionable to drive commercial end uses. So that was really our goal. Yeah, so Salesforce. So we heard from our customers in our initial product market fit research that they love the idea of data being much more actionable for commercial users, so they can grow their businesses, manage their businesses. They said, please, please put it in Salesforce. Like, we want to consolidate on a tech stack. That is where our information is living. The reps don't go into Salesforce enough. We need them to go in more because we need more visibility on what we're doing for things like forecasting, which is, we have a huge role to play there. Please put it in Salesforce. And we listened. We know that not everybody loves to go into Salesforce. It's seen as unproductive time for the field. However, if now you go into Salesforce and you're getting so much powerful information about your customers and your markets for you to crush quota, now it changes the whole nature of the game, and it creates sort of this virtuous cycle of, getting the teams more oriented to going into Salesforce, getting more value out of Salesforce, and helping the whole organization grow. It also gives us a great way to align marketing and sales. That's another thing that medtech companies, I'd say to a T, would say they don't do well. In fact, a lot of times marketing's over here trying to do something, sales is over here. And sales may view marketing as sales overhead. They don't see the impact of it. But now, if you're aligning the whole organization in their current tech stack around ground truth data and analytics to say, hey, I've got this new indication for my technology, who's a good target for that? How do I position that? Which persona is going to adopt it? And then you can translate that directly in that same solution space to targets for the reps with a talk track. That starts to get really exciting, and that starts to create a lot of efficiencies. So we're really about that whole of company solution to drive growth. And a lot of that is around how we align marketing and sales. We work very closely with both marketing and sales stakeholders in what we do.
Yeah, there's been a couple points beyond the technology itself being incredibly impressive. Getting to know the people has been a real positive experience. The culture you're developing is special. It's special. You take the best of what I love about medical. You have the heart center to what you do. You have the relationship center to what you do, with the insanely competent technology that you're working with. Where are we as a company in terms of growth, and how do you want to manage growth, especially keeping culture front and center? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so our culture, the reason why we were able to achieve success initially as a strategy services organization is we truly position ourselves as a partner to our customers. We really care. We're not about dumping and running, selling a shiny toy. We are about partnering with our customers to solve their problems with data and AI and intelligence. And that culture carries internal and external. We are a team of problem solvers. We're a team of collaborators. We're very transparent in how we operate. We're very authentic and genuine in wanting to help our clients succeed. We measure ourselves on their success, not on ours exclusively. And I think that has enabled us to grow very rapidly and very efficiently. We built a great foundation as a service organization for 10 years, took all that intelligence, all those relationships, that service orientation, and brought it right into this next phase of our life, which is product led with our RepSignal platform. And it shows. And I think that is a consistent point of feedback we hear from our customers is like, we really do feel like you're a partner.
That's
So that's our
exceptional.
approach.
That's exceptional. That's a big differentiator when it comes to partnerships in the industry for so many reasons. And that aligns with me. I think that's why we have clicked over the years. Is I take that very personally when you have a service-based relationship. There's a lot of respect and mutual expectations that go into that. That's super important. As we look at where we're going, I'll encourage the audience to think about it, because so many people that listen are thinking about their next step career-wise. And if you think about the big picture, the market, the medical device industry, we have developers who are making products and services, and then we have providers of products and services where S2N falls in. This could be an exceptional opportunity for someone to come in with an understanding of the customer, as you did when you founded the organization, understand the problem that we're looking to solve, utilize it in a different way, and have such a vantage point of where the market is going, where trends are going, where technology is going, because technology we know is not going away. We're only getting more infiltrated because S2N is cutting edge. It has been cutting edge for over 10 years, and it's continuing to drive where we're headed. And when I counsel individuals who are thinking about their career development, and they're a product manager and want to be a CEO, or they're an R&D engineer and they want to be a CTO, or they want to found a company, it's staying close to where the market's going and what people care about. So care about in the form of money, care about in the form of clinical interest, care about in the form of services and efficiencies. And when you think about this kind of tailwind, it can really accelerate your own individual market value. So I love the culture you're building, and there's so many reasons that from a career development perspective, it makes so much sense for individuals to come in. You get the startup feel, early revenue organization, driving this insanely cool platform with great people, and you're not locked into one product or service. You're really working with the entire market.
Yeah, I think what aligns all of us at S2N is our curiosity, that we want to learn more. We want to solve that next problem. Learning is our happy place. So, that's a really exciting opportunity. We have everyone's cross-trained on something. We still have a consulting team. Now they're engaged a lot in things that are very synergistic with our platform. So really driving those custom analytics that can be delivered for things like, who's a good lead for me, or what segment am I going after, or testing positioning that we want to sort of integrate in the platform. They're also helping with marketing content or data curation. We've got engineers that are, getting into data science. We cross-train people quite well so that, they have a more holistic view of what we're doing and they can learn and grow career-wise. So that's been a big focus for us as well.
That's excellent. It's excellent. Well, we're excited about the future of S2N. What's next? We've got RepSignal. What are you thinking about? If there's anything you can share about where we head from here.
Well, we are going to be launching some of our AI tooling. We have AI currently in the platform doing fun things like summarizing information about your customer on your phone. That's already in our platform. But we certainly broader uses of AI agents, agentic AI, to, you know, maybe help with inside sales or things like that. You'll see some movement there. We also want to solve enterprise problems because we don't just integrate with the CRM. We really integrate all over, the tech stack. So, really getting those market level, portfolio level analytics so that, even across business units of a large medtech enterprise, they can get visibility that they've never had, not just to their own sales, but to the opportunity in the market and their customers' trends. So we're really, again, aimed at solving enterprise solutions. Sure, we love providing intelligence for end reps to crush their quota. Like that will always be that the last mile delivery of, just what you need insights to the field is always part of the vision. I think the growth area that we're most quickly expanding in is more that enterprise view to be able to make really big decisions that affect earnings per share type level impact. So, that's what we're after, really partnering with our customers to bend that cost curve of sales and marketing, and drive growth.
Excellent. I can see where we're headed, and it's exciting. It's an exciting time to lean in and engage with the company and the team, and certainly can see, as you've explained, what we're doing today, how it could be valuable to big strategics as well as mid caps that are looking to aggressively take on market share and compete. The world of big strategics being the bellwether is changing. So it's interesting to see some of the smaller organizations and the fast climbing younger companies do things on the heels of some tough times with some of the strategics as well. So the dynamics are phenomenal, and they add so much opportunity for S2N Health. So I'm so glad, Amy, that you were able to join today. I have to ask before we leave, besides S2N Health, I know you're a study of the industry. You're in the epicenter up in Boston. Is there anything else you're following just for personal interests in the industry? Any of the macro movements that you find fascinating?
Well, as you said, the emerging technology space is something I'm actively involved in and I follow. And we do have a number of RepSignal customers in this emerging and small and certainly mid-sized company space. They will be near and dear to my heart. I've worked closely over the years with MedTech Innovator. I partner with MassMedic on, to help their emerging companies. I guest lecture students that are learning how to work in the healthcare industry on commercial strategy in MedTech. And I mentor a few companies. I work with okay, fun fact about me is I'm fluent in German. I lived in Germany for a while, and I mentor some German startups through Start2 Group, a German government organization. So probably that's one of my fun passions is working with startups and helping them, get their strategy well tuned to raise money to be able to grow in English and in German.
That's fascinating. Oh my goodness, what a great experience. Well, your international beginnings come full circle, right? Just all of it is intertwined. Yep. That's fascinating. Well, yep. Amazing. Well, if we want to find out, if anyone in the audience wants to find out more about S2N Health, what would you like to share?
Well, visit our website. You can learn more about all of our products and our services offerings there. Visit us on the Salesforce App Exchange. We're a partner to Salesforce, so you can find us there. And we have a number of events coming up. I'm doing an event with Salesforce at the end of the month on commercial excellence in medtech. And there'll be a lot coming in the fall. Yeah, very active time for us.
Excellent. Yes, reach out if you don't know from any of those places where to go. You can always reach out to me or to Amy, but I'll make sure any inbound goes to someone at the organization that could get your your questions answered. Amy, it has been truly a pleasure. I am so glad to have you on today on Tech Talks. Thank you for joining me.
Sure. Thank you, Holly.
For all of our audience, thank you for joining us in 160 Studios. Be well.